All right, if you've made your way into the extended, then this is where we go deeper because the base reading showed us what's happening in your external world. But this part, this is where we look into what's happening underneath everything. This is the why, this is the emotional layers, this is the soul level guidance and the patterns that are moving through you right now. So, we're going to walk through this step by step, starting with the inner child and moving into the emotional truth, then into the higher guidance and patterns, and finally the timing and confirmation. So, we're going to be starting with the Healing the Inner Child Oracle. And let's start at the root of everything because that's what the Page of Wands energy, because that Page of Wands energy wasn't random. That's your inner child. That's the part of you that still remembers what it feels like to be lit up, excited, and free. So let's see what your inner child is trying to show you here. All right, so looking at the inner child oracle, what is my inner child asking for right now? Oh, the inner child is actually very, very afraid right now, and it's asking for that fear to be acknowledged, that what they're trying to do is very scary. Like, they know that they want to move into, these bigger things, and they know they have this truth to come out. They know that they have all this, but it's just like the fear of doing that is still really, really big. And so that's the thing that they want nurtured in them right now, is just for the acknowledgement that, what they're doing is scary. It's not easy for them, for you. So, what part of you feels restricted or unseen in this situation? We have abandonment. And so that is where you feel like you're not able to be seen, your needs, your desires, like your vision. It's like that's the piece that feels like it's not allowed to be there. And so you're allowed to be in the space as long as you show up in a certain way, but the real you doesn't get to show up. And that's the part of you that is that's the part that's crying out the most right now. What does your inner child need from you this week to feel safe and supported? We have persona. So they need you to start showing up as yourself, to stop wearing the mask, to let your truth, the truth of who you really are, be fully seen. And, that's the scary part. That's why it's like the mask feels so much easier because everybody, they like the mask, but that's the people pleasing mask. That's not the one that you actually, want to wear. That's not the one that gets you what you actually want. Because, see, when you show up as your authentic version of yourself, that helps the right people recognize you. But when you're showing up as this version that I'll be anything that you need me to be, just as long as you choose me, then you're going to find people who are, they are users, they are, takers, they are going to, take advantage of your not having a solid identity in yourself. Okay, let's move forward into the emotional layer with Heart's Hidden Secrets, because there's something here that you're feeling, but it may not be fully expressed or even fully acknowledged yet. So let's bring that layer in now, too. All right. So, what is the emotional truth that you may not be fully admitting to yourself? We have obscurity, secrets, mysteries, concealing. Okay. So, because you have not told your actual inner truth with this high priestess energy, and you're wearing that mask that we were just talking about, um, that's the part you're having to live almost like a double life, the truth of who you are and who you have to show up as to continue to be in this dynamic and to continue to support the, roles and the commitments that you have placed yourself in. It's like, you're not aligned in that, that you're, mostly checked out from that, but yet you haven't fully yet. You still feel obligated to it, but it's not the truth of who you are anymore or the truth of what you actually want anymore. Okay. What is sitting in your heart beneath this situation? We have pain. And here's where the fear comes in, because you don't want to hurt anyone. Your intentions really are pure in this situation. It's just you got yourself in this dynamic here that you didn't actually mean to get yourself into, because you were wearing a mask, because you weren't showing up with your truth, because you didn't feel safe to share your truth. Now you got yourself into this situation where you have to keep showing up for something that you don't want to show up for anymore. Okay, so what emotional pattern is influencing your current choices? We have exhaustion. You cannot keep going like this. You have burnt yourself out. You poured yourself until you are completely empty, because you're trying to show up as a version of yourself that isn't real. And that is absolutely exhausting versus just getting to be freely yourself. And so it's like this, having to wear this constant mask is just, it's taking its toll on you. Okay, let's go in a little higher now with the council, because from a soul perspective, nothing here is random. There is guidance, there's purpose, and there's alignment happening, even if it doesn't fully feel like it yet. So let's see what the council wants you to understand. What is the higher purpose of this situation or tension? The mirror. What you judge, your healing. Angel number 2323, third eye, silver gray, the path of transmutation. And so this situation is actually a very strong mirror for you to help you see what you actually want, what is actually aligned, what is actually like a true reflection of you. And so that's what all relationships usually end up being, is they're a mirror to show you some version of yourself. And so the version of yourself that is showing up in this dynamic right here is not actually one that you like seeing. It's inverted, and especially because we're seeing this 32 energy here and this 23 energy here. It's like it's inverted. Like, this isn't the way I wanted this to go. And so there's something that's just like, it's showing, this situation is showing you how you show up and how you get yourself into dynamics that you may not actually be aligned with. Okay. What are you being guided to release or realign? Past life lover, a love that echoes through time. 1212, crown chakra, lavender, sacred contracts. And so I feel like there is some sort of karmic partner here that you have come to, a completion level with this 1010 energy. And so like they've shown you what you needed to see. And the 10 energy is, it's usually you've stayed too long at the party, because the end is at 9. Once you get to 10, you're already past where you were meant to be. The new beginning was already supposed to be here. And so that's the thing that you are being asked to release, or at least it has to change form, because the way it is, this dynamic does not work. Okay, what is my next aligned step from a soul perspective? We have Kuan Yin. Compassion is a superpower. 999, heart chakra, pale pink, the council speaks. Okay, so 999, it's time to compassionately end this dynamic. It's time for you to speak your truth, but it comes out through the heart with love, compassion, care, concern. It's not just like harshness. It's just, so like, I know that you feel like your truth is going to hurt the other person, because you feel like you've been a fraud, and in some sort of way you have, because you you people please and you put on your mask and you let them believe that this was, a system that worked for you. But the reality is showing you more and more each day that no, it's actually not working for me. It's making me kind of miserable because I don't know where to get my joy from anymore. My joy is like the thing that's being stolen. And so there's a way to do this. You come from your heart. And again, it's one of your superpowers. You already know how to do this. It's just like, how would you want it said to you? And that's how you're going to say it to them. So, what is your next aligned step from a soul perspective? Mother Mary, gentle strength, fierce grace, angel number 777, throat chakra, sky blue, the council speaks. And so the throat chakra is activated. So there is truth that needs to be spoken. But Mother Mary is also about your sacred service. And so, the thing that you are being called to do in this life. And so, you have to say yes to yourself because you know that you're being called for more than what this situation is providing for you. Okay, so let's look at the pattern now, and we're going to use the wisdom of the oracle for this next part because this week isn't just about a moment, it's part of a cycle. And when you can see the pattern, you can start choosing differently. So let's see with the wisdom of the oracle. What cycle or pattern are you currently moving through? We have exchanging gifts. And so that's an interesting one. Exchanging gifts. And so, got a few things coming through. I'm trying to let the clarity hit on this, but there was something, you were getting something out of this. Even if you don't realize it right off the bat, that you were getting something out of this. And so maybe it made you feel important. Maybe it made you feel useful. Maybe it just like, because I mean, sometimes we can get into patterns of, being a martyr, and that's like, it brings us some sort of like, it's part of our identity. And so it's like that's something you need to look at with this, Three of Wands energy. What are you waiting for? Because you were getting some kind of payoff from this. So what was your payoff? And it's okay to admit that, there were parts that were actually good about this. There were parts that actually, were helpful. And so I think when you start really thinking about the things that, what were you getting? Because I think that's the thing that you fear losing is, are there ways that you can get that in other ways? And is that the truth of the situation? So there's, what was the payoff here? Okay. How am I being asked to shift my perspective or expectations? Or how are you being asked? Higher power. You need to look at it from a higher perspective. So, I mean, you may think that you're doing something to them right here, you're hurting them right now, but there's a higher perspective at play. And so, if it's not in alignment for you, it's likely not in alignment for them. And this dynamic right here with this Six of Pentacles isn't really one that is in alignment for, either person in this connection, because one person has to be an overtaker and the other person has to be the overgiver. So like there's imbalance already built into that. And so maybe they may not even see it until you bring it to their awareness that, this has to stop. So you're helping them, and you have to see that from that higher level perspective, that there's something bigger than you at play. The reason why you're feeling called into these other places, and the reason why this feels so bad to you is because it's that higher perspective is being like kind of shined down on you, and it's not aligned, and it's not the life that you were meant to live. Okay. What energy do you need to embody to move forward in alignment? We have 2DC. And so you don't have to do anything drastic, but you're not gonna stay in places that are toxic, that are unhealthy, that are unstable, that are, that stormy energy. You're moving into, calmness, and it's, you may not be making, like I said, big movements, but you are allowing the energy to, kind of drift into a calmer space. That's what you're following. Where's the calmer energy at? That's what you're trying to find. Okay. So let's ground this into something clear and direct, because for many of you, there's a decision underneath all of this. So we're going to use the yes and no oracle to get a direct answer here. So are you being guided to move towards what is calling you right now? We have yes. The key to success is provided by happy coincidence. This inevitably unfolds incidents in a favorable direction for you. This proves fantastically unpredictable for you, but improves your situations in ways that you never dreamed. And so, yes, and it may come about as something, just that seems kind of random, but that thing is the thing that leads you into, the next steps. And so, like, just pay attention, to the opportunities around you right now, because there's going to be an opportunity for you to be able to speak this truth and move into, like that improved situations, and the situations improved in ways that you've never dreamed. Okay, so with the tell me when oracle, let's look at timing. Not because everything has to be rushed, but to understand the flow of how all of this is unfolding. When will this situation begin to shift or become clearer? We have in time for Taurus season, and that is not far away. So Taurus season is let me see, where are we at right now? Where is my thing here? Yeah, we're moving into it at the end of this month. By early May, we're moving towards the end of April, early May, right into this energy. What is the timing for aligned movement or decision making? This weekend. So this isn't something that's going to hang on long. This is something you're working really fast through. I think it's being forced. Just like I said, the more that it kind of, the resentment builds, the more you see the need for you to, I've got to speak the truth. I can't keep living in this dynamic. This is not working for me. Okay, so let's just take a breath with all of this. You don't have to force anything this week, but you are being asked to notice. Notice what is calling you. Notice what feels heavy. Notice what your intuition is already telling you. Because this isn't sudden, drastic change, but it is about quiet, honest alignment. And that's where everything really begins to shift, is when you really get yourself into alignment with the truth of who you are. We're not wearing the mask. We're going to be fully ourselves. All right, guys. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And then come back next week, and I will see you in the next one. Remember, if you would like to go deeper with me, you can work with me in one-on-one sessions and find, other materials and things that I have for you to go deeper on my website at theawakenedgen.com.